So I'm going to tell you what I think about Gotham Knights right away because I don't believe in wasting people's time. This game is only worth it if you're so into the story missions that you really don't care about how everything else outside of that is boring and poorly executed. So is the criticism surrounding Gotham Knights fair or not? Is this game worth it? That's what I'll be talking about in this video. And the sad and frustrating part about this is that this game clearly has a winning formula, but it fumbled so hard, it's a bigger disappointment than I am to my parents. I'm kidding, my parents love me, I just wanted to be dramatic. And honestly, I have too many hours on Steam to get a refund, so I thought I'd make a video and hopefully get my money back with some ad revenue. Gosh, what has my life become? But I don't want to make it inflammatory, because I can't be anything else but blatantly honest. You have probably heard of the negatives and criticism around the grindiness of the game, and I'm going to come out and say that a grind in a game isn't inherently bad, if and only if the gameplay is fun and solid. Because at the core, video games are about fun, and what makes it fun is the gameplay, right? And this is where I will start to shill Assassin's Creed Odyssey. That game is long, and there's a lot to do in it, but the gameplay is excellent. And I know it may not be fair to compare Gotham Knights to a game it wasn't trying to be, so let's compare it to a game it desperately wanted to be, which is Sony's Spider-Man. An open world that you can interact with, help with ongoing crimes, rooftop hopping, collectibles, leveling up to get more abilities, unlocking new suits, and customizable items. So what I'm saying here is that it has the same gameplay loop, the same skeleton, but one of those was Game of the Year, while the other is regrettably hot garbage. So what's the difference? What makes Gotham Knights so bad? Well, quite simply, everything in Spider-Man is fun and polished, whereas in Gotham Knights, overall, it just feels unfinished. The best way I can put this is it feels like a mobile game with console and PC graphics. Zipping around to places isn't fun, it just isn't. Like your character is a petrified piece of wood flying through the air, and it feels clunky, and it also looks unfinished. Collectible hunting isn't fun, because 1, it's not on the map, and 2, navigating the freaking map is worse than a horseback riding in The Witcher 3. And most importantly, driving the Bat-cycle around the city is ridiculous. It's an absolute joke. One might say a Killing Joke Batman reference, yay! They also added this weird, exaggerated motion blur effect when you're on a Bat-cycle to make you feel like you're going fast, but you aren't, and it's just odd. It's like, when you're a kid and you're driving those electric cars, that's exactly what it feels like, and I just cannot understand how they got all this simple stuff, the side stuff, the bloat, if you will, so very wrong. Now, the crime fighting is actually fun in the way that you can interrogate enemies and get info, or help cops fight criminals, or literally stop an active bank robbing, and that's great and all. It's very interactive. But after a few hours, you've seen all the best the game can offer, and to me, that specific gameplay loop gets boring extremely quickly, especially because of the fighting, which I'll talk a bit about later. But after doing this brain-dead crime fighting around the city, flying around in a janky and non-satisfying way, you get the reward of crafting new suits and items for yourself, and that can grip a lot of people, and it sure does for me most of the time. Customization is the new rage everyone loves. And I mean, like every RPG nerd knows this, and it's what we love about RPGs, but it seems people are understanding the value in customization, a value which gaming companies seem to take for granted. Customization alone does not make for a good game, or a good experience. And to top it all off, there are no proper side quests like in Spider-Man or other similar games. There's no story outside the main missions. It's just go here, kick ass, get rewarded, number go up, me like. And it makes the game feel extremely empty and very bland. So to sum up everything I said so far, getting around the city, whether you're on the Bat-cycle or you're zipping around is bad, and the missions and grinding gets boring really quickly. So you're probably thinking, man, is she ever going to say something good about this game? Sounds like a purposefully inflammatory video for views, right? So let's talk about the good, or what I think could make it worthwhile for some people. So the combat is better than when I first thought, which is helped a lot by the skill trees. There is no lock-on when you're fighting, which makes for weird camera angles sometimes, so like enemies will sneak up behind you or throw things at you and you won't even see them. But I actually like that it ups the difficulty in a way, because to parry in this game, you need to perfect evade a hit, and then you follow up a hit on that same enemy. And with the camera working against you, well, it's actually not that bad, you know? The controls are very responsive in that regard. There are no combos per se, but there is a just hit mechanic where if you hit the punchy button right before the hit actually connects with the enemy, then your character will do a follow-up combo. It's alright, it's different, I don't think it's bad per se. It just makes the fighting really stale because there isn't a lot of room to add more stuff in, you know? Because even if the skill tree does give you other abilities, it doesn't change the combat that much. It doesn't add combos, it just adds tech stuff here and there, right? Now every Bat Fam member has a light and heavy attack, which is mapped to the same button, takedowns and ranged attacks. And they also have all their special moves, which vary in usefulness and ease of use. See above section about no lock-on on enemies. And that is pretty much it when it comes to the fighting. I think the graphics aren't as bad as people say. I mean, I understand maybe on console, but I have the luxury of playing on a PC, so I bumped up everything up, and I've had a few issues on my Ryzen 7 and GTX 3070. There was a lot of screen tearing on the first day, and ray tracing will make this game lag like nothing else. But other than that, it isn't turning my GPU into a barbecue, so it's better than most first day releases in my opinion. Like the environment, the characters, everything, it just doesn't have any depth. It doesn't have that character that Gotham should have to make it distinctive from any other city out there. And you know how you can see bad actors acting, like they're trying hard to act, but it just shows that they're acting, so it kind of takes you out of it. It's exactly like that, if that makes any sense. It tries so hard to not seem like a grindy video game, but it doesn't give you any immersive feeling to hide that obvious grinding element, so it just feels grindy without any of the fun. So what else can I really say? I mean, the intro cinematic is awesome, but I just failed to care about the story presented outside of that. Just because everything else that you do in this game is so bland and boring, I just don't care to level up and get stronger gear. I just don't. Which then leads me to not caring about playing at all. So that's why to me it feels like a mobile game, because that's my general feeling towards them. And don't get me started on the freaking stealth. I'm sure you'll see by the footage in this video, like, there's so many times where I'm choking out an enemy right beside another enemy and they don't care, they don't hear anything at all. You're not in a dark building or a cave or something, like you're in the freaking streets and there's a freaking flood lamp right above your head, like come on dude. It's just, they have every element to make a good game, but every element sucks. Which is really unfortunate, because they have good characters, they have the backbones for good fighting, even to make a good RPG out of this. But every part of this game is so underpolished that it falls apart very quickly when you start to play it, or the more hours you put in it. So I mean, you might like it, you might not, but in my very humble opinion, don't spend your money on this game. I know people work hard on these games, and it does pain me to say this, but it's not a game that's worth your time, unfortunately. Don't let the cool characters and suits lure you in. There is really nothing else behind that facade that will turn this game into a good and fun video game. So those are my thoughts. Have you played the game or not? Let me know what you think below. So other than that, everyone, have yourself a wonderful day, and I'll see you all very soon.